Let's do a little experiment. This tennis ball is as big as my head, right? Although not really. Depends on where it is. But because this camera only has the one lens, it can't quite distinguish distances. That's why it's lovely to have two eyes, because they help us see some depth. My name is Mark Epperson. I'm interested in issues of faith and science, and I'd like to just start a conversation with anyone who wants to join me to try and bring these things together a bit, because it seems like in the name of good TV, they're always pitted against each other. So you have an atheist scientist pitted against a Christian creationist, and it's as though those are the only two options. And everyone else who kind of has a sense that I believe there's a God, but I also believe that science is very helpful in explaining things, somehow they don't get a voice. And that's bummed me out. So I'd like for them to have a voice. I think I am one of those voices. But my hope is not just to kind of put it out there as a believer in faith and science, but it's to try and find ways to encourage one another in thinking about faith and science and how they can inform one another. So it was actually a metaphor that Michael Gillen put in a book that I read years ago. I can't remember the name of the book, but the idea of our stereo vision, if you were to cover one eye and look at the world, I see it, but it's a bit flat, and I can't quite tell the size of some things, although I have a sense of what their sizes are because of my experience of the world. But it's when you put the two together, you're able then, because of stereo vision, to actually see a bit more of what that distance is. There's suddenly relief and depth to it. So in his metaphor, one eye is like faith and the other eye is like science. And it's not that they're against each other, they're actually helping one another out to have a better view of reality. And so that's what I'd like to do for a few videos on this channel. My name again is Mark Epperson. I'm an actor in New York City, but I have a Master's of Divinity, so I have a theological mind, but I also come from a family of scientists. If you'd like, you might look up Epperson versus Arkansas to get a sense of my pedigree and see that I come from a family of evolutionists who also believe in God. So I've grown up with no conflict in these concepts between a God who is creative and a world that can be observed and conclusions drawn from those observations. So if one eye is science, the observable physical world, and the other eye is sort of the metaphysical, that thing beyond our senses that we have a sense of and we begin to draw conclusions from as well, how can those two things inform one another and give us a better view of reality? And over the next few videos, I'll share some thoughts that I've had about how these two can inform one another and actually find deeper meaning in both my faith as a believer in Jesus and in the scientific world and what it is observing, that it's observing something that does have predictability and order, and that has meaning as well. So thank you very much for taking a couple minutes to look at this. If you have questions or comments, I'm open to them, and I'll do my best to even respond to them and make it kind of a dialogue about these topics. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.